for you?
That I have diabetes.
Oh, okay. What is that?
It's an insulin pump. It's type 1, so it's not curable.
Why are you guys laughing about her diabetes?
You know, it's so sad. You just saw this video came out of nowhere. I don't know why they would make me, well, I don't know why this video will come up in my YouTube browser, but it came in. Obviously it's because these kids are high schoolers, as you can see. And of course, stimulations. Oh my gosh, they're like playing my libido. They're trying to make me look at this kid in these different perceptions and try to make me imagine in a way that's like appealing and make me feel something sexual. And it's funny, you know, and they're like, oh, she's pretty. It's like, yeah, she's very pretty, but she's like a kid. She's like a baby. If you just saw this video, which is a video made on August 7th of this year, or prior or something. So it's an old video I've made on my YouTube channel. And as you can see, I was going through my YouTube and this random video about this high schooler came up. And the reason why is because they're high schoolers. You know, they can make you see things regardless of like what you're gonna see. And you can see they're trying to be like, they immediately give me some stimulation and reaction. Mind you, this are high school kids, so they can do that to like babies. And then they try to be like, oh, you think these kids are very, like they're pretty. I was like, very pretty, good for them. Like, I'm sure they're popular kids in high school. I'm sure the boys in high school find it, but I will see them as just kids. Just some teenage kids doing their little things. But because they have the ability to manipulate your perceptions as a target individual, I'm a human subject. They can make you think the way they want you. Now, this is not the worst they've done, honestly. They do that to babies, like 10-year-old children, like even younger. Some babies of all ages, they do that. So kids that they can make me think of them more of adults, they're gonna do that easily. So they're making me look at her. She's a very pretty girl, but she's a kid. And they try to make me look at her and make me feel like she's like an adult. So I was like, listen, I will see her for the baby that for the kid from the teenager, not a baby, but like a teenager kid that she is. But you can make me perceive babies in sexual ways. So what do you think you can do to this teenage kid? Right? And they want you to be subscriptive with it. And then immediately, and mind you, this is a video I've made. I've been being consistent about how they make you perceive children. And now they're bringing up the things they've done to me before. And because this is some teenage kid, they can do this. And on top of that, they're like, oh, but you think she's pretty? It's like, she's a very pretty girl. Good for her. And then, but in fact, at the end, there's some blonde teenager that's laughing. And it's like, you see her, you see a few seconds of her. I have to like stop there. It's like, they're all kids. They're teenage babies. They're like little typical high school kids. But it's like, no, but you think it's like, and then they go back into what you're going to see next is in 2014, I followed this person who I thought was an adult. I'm in my late 20s. I followed this person thinking she's in her 20s, finding out she was not. She was just a teenage kid that was about to be an adult, or who was not an adult yet. And I was shocked, like, what? But mind you, this is 2014. You'll see who I'm talking about. And so today, they are forcing me to get stimulation toward children and be like, no, but like almost 10 years ago, you followed this person who you thought was an adult, but wasn't an adult. And that's proof. So today, when they force you to get stimulations, it's natural because in 2014, you followed this person. It's like, no, this is an obvious teenage kid. She, especially when you see her body and everything, the face can be portrayed a little bit more like an adult, but you see, like, they're trying to make me look at, and I don't want to be sexualizing children in any ways, but they're forcing me to try to look at them in a sexual way. They're trying to give her breasts that she doesn't have, just to create this more like sexual perception about this kid. Now they do that to like babies, all right? So her, honestly, as much as I can get angry, this is not the worst. This is a teenager who's between 16 and 17 or something like that, right? Maybe the oldest she could be is 18, but around 16, 17-year-old, right? They've done that to babies who are like 9-year-olds, 8-year-olds, babies. So I gotta put things in perspective. But now they're like, every time they're bringing up their own manipulations. Like, oh, you see, we framed it, we proved it. This is nothing new. I'm literally bringing up a video I've made in August of things they've done to me, and try to be like, and in my mind it's just creating these battles. Like, I have battles with babies who are just like 10 years old, where in my brain they force me to look at them in a sexual way. So the things they do, right, especially with teenagers, is how can we make them look, in my mind, more like adults, make me perceive them like adult women. And because they're older, they're almost like they're getting closer to adulthood, it's easier to create that. Now, then immediately they try to have this argument. Oh, you think she's pretty? Which is obviously she's a pretty girl, but she's a kid. I'm sure she's a popular kid in her high school. I'm sure boys her age are interested in her. But I see her for the kid that she is. Now, I'm now being forced to see her in this stimulating way. I'm getting interest. Like, it's like feelings, like, I mean, forcing me to kind of see her in this sexual way. And it's just annoying because I can see her truly for the kid that she is. I can easily see the teenager if I was me, naturally. Now, immediately they're like, oh, keep lying. It's like, trash. You're going to hear after this what they do. What they've done to people has been systematically the same. They do the pedophilia type of torture. You're going to hear a woman who said they do these things toward young people, children. They give her, and this is a woman, like this is a grown woman with children. And I'm hearing these bottom feeders who are contracted by these pedophiles to try to get you to make you accept these manipulations. But this trash, because they're going to frame me, and they're going to use this trash children to frame me. And because they're going to now leave off the manipulation they can easily have me have. This trash that work for pedophiles, like I even said the name of a pedophile called Roy Moore. So after this video, what you're going to see? You're going to see the picture of me, and I made a video, and you please feel free, of who I follow in 2014, how she looks like, and why I would think that she's an adult. Then you're going to hear the clear testimonials of women literally saying they do this pedophilia type of torture, right? But not only that, she specifically said that they've been starting doing this program of perversion, meaning they make me feel sensation, a weird feeling. It's hard to explain what it is. It's hard, but it's some stimulations. And they've been aiming this program of perversion toward young people, children, and homosexual, which they've done the same thing. I remember seeing this bouncer bartender guy one day. I was there, and that's like a stimulation. Now, listen, I've seen the man and say, oh, this is a good-looking man. I'm like envious of, in a sense that, okay. But I literally felt stimulations, like a stimulation of this buff bartender bouncer. But I was like, I don't give a shit about that. I don't care. And then she clearly said then that they do this thing where, for me, I'm hearing childlike people, like they sound like children and teenagers. They're like teenagers really like to involve themselves. They do these nasty things, and they do this program of perversion. And they at night they make me think about these teenage kids and try to create this like manipulation, which they've done with me. I used to there was one point when they were training my brain like that. They would make me have dreams with like late teen, early, like I don't know, like ambiguous age kind of people. They would make me have sexual dream with people who I can't even tell exactly if they're just young adult or the teenager, like on that like crust, to train my brain. They will make me have sexual dream so I can be trained to think about kids in these ways. So now it's getting worse and worse and worse. But mind you, they do this with the babies, so all the kids, they can do this shit even worse. And I know it's what they do. I have no problem. I've understood that's what they do. They've been training my brain to think about children in a sexual way. And I've recognized it. They've been making me have literally sexual dreams. Sexual dream with teenage kids, even babies. No, not like little, but like younger than teenage. It's disgusting. To train my brain to think about kids in a sexual way. I'll wake up, it's like, oh my gosh, they just made me have like sexual dream with somebody. I'm not sure if she's an adult or not. So they do these things to train you like that. A bit like they can create these perceptions that change, and then try to make me subscribe. The way they just. Like I said, the way they can manipulate your perceptions. 2 seconds you can be seeing the way you would see it naturally, and then back to like these different ways. Now with, like I said, teenagers toward the end of their like teenagehood, like 16 plus, it's gonna be easier because they can make me look at them more like adults. And it's just sad. Like they can make you feel this weird like feelings. And they do this shit. And it's disgusting. Now, the reason why they want you to be accepting of this at this point is because I know they're gonna manipulate I know that that they're gonna frame me, right? But I don't want to let them live that fantasy. When you frame me, listen, there's no escapism. Like, these people are so delusional that they can create this like, oh my gosh, we're doing it because now you manipulate people to look at kids. Let me say, in the last video, this is part 2. Actually, I'm just gonna have it all going on. I was talking about how they're training my brain. There's a time period, right, where they're having me have sexual dreams with like people who I didn't know their age. Like, look so young that they could actually be underage or young adults. They make me have sexual dreams to train me to think about kids this way, right? They truly try to repattern you now and try to break you down and condition you to start thinking about kids in a sexual way. They've done it. It's been a few years now. And matter of fact, in the other, like in that initial, there's one like blonde kid, and they try to make me like, oh, you see her, you can see her. They try to like, listen, you can do that to this baby, so of course. And especially when it's quickly, like she just left and you barely see anything, they can be like, oh, it's like, it's so disgusting. But that's the things they can do. If they can make me look at a kid like an adult, they can do that. Make me perceive this kid like an adult. So the teenage kids are closer to adults. So they can make me think that they're kids. They make me think that these kids are adults. They have tried to do that with babies as young as 12 years old, where they start trying to restructuring them, like make me think like a way I would look at an adult. I'm like, what the hell? It's crazy. So the older kids, man, my brain is, oh, they're going to make me look at this kid like she's an adult. And like, oh, she's pretty. It's like, very pretty, good for her. Like, it's just, but like a kid, like a teenage kid, like it's baby. And then at one point, like when she grows up, she's gonna be. It's like, I'm sure, good for her. What does it matter to me? What's she gonna look like when she grows up? What is that has to do? I don't give a f what she. I mean, good. I hope good for her. Like, what's the purpose of me, like knowing that? But when she grows up, okay, good for her. She's gonna grow up to look good. So, you just gotta be strong, you know. You gotta be, in my mind, making me imagine this. But then they try to make you acceptive of that. It's like, because, you know, in 2014, what you're gonna see, I followed this person who looked like a freaking adult when she was not an adult. And me in my 20s thought she was an adult. Because she looks like an adult when she wasn't. Is one of those people who look way older than their age. In 2014 too. So I'm like, and they're like, no, we mapped it because you see, remember this, you see how you followed her? It's like, yeah, did you see her? Okay, see her. That's what she looked like. After this video, please take a look of who they're talking about. I made a video. That's how she looked when I followed her. Me in 2014 when I'm in my late 20s at this point. And then if you think that they don't do the pedophilia type of torture, or sorry, they don't do this thing where they condition your brain toward teenage kids, and they don't do this program Perversion. Listen to this testimony of this woman. Everything they do is just systematic. Listen, and they like to say, "Oh, you're a pervert." Like, listen, I know my perversion, and it's not toward children. My perversion is toward, and I'm going to be honest, women. I know who I am. I know my imperfections. You are trying to turn my perversions, my imperfections, toward children. And this person that I followed in 2014, it's because I thought she was an adult. If you go and look at this person, you're going to think that she's an adult based on what she looks like, but she was an adult. Matter of fact, and by the way, I never even interact. I never even talked to this person. I don't know anything about her. Like, I've never had a single interaction in my life with this person. It's somebody I thought was an adult in college or something like that. I was just 26, 27 at this time. I was like, okay, follow her life, her dating life, who she's traveling. It became actually a very interesting life to follow on social media. But now they try to make me have these perversions aimed toward children, and try to create these ways of perceiving children in these ways to try to get some disturbing things. I mean, in my mind, they're even bringing out by inability. I know who I am very well. But because these people do these foul things, and they're going to do this thing where they're going to frame me. And I'm hearing these guys like, my 2 children. It's like, good for you. Good for you. Please do. Please sell your kids like that. Please. Please. Maybe, the way things work sometime, maybe your 2 kids for real will have somebody a predator going after them. Maybe. God works in ways that you don't understand. While you're creating this framing, maybe this is New York, huh? There's predators here. People you don't need to like manipulate them or anything. This is New York. This is real things happen, real life, not manipulations. Real things, not things you put together. You manipulate people and then you talk about you follow somebody on Snapchat in 2014, almost 10 years now. Almost, let's say just 9 years ago. And this happens to look like there's predators here. So maybe they'll be blessed in that way. Maybe what they're looking for will be found. But in the meantime, I'm never going to subscribe to these manipulations. I know me. I know I'm being forced to see these kids in these ways. I know. I see these teenage kids as this typical teenage kid. Good for them. I can see that those are the cool teenage kids. They're probably the popular ones. I'm sure that they I can see teenage. Good for you. For me to start getting that feeling and sensation and seeing them like that and being forced to I know that's what they do to me. So in my brain, they even bringing up. So you have to be strong. You just got to know that you're no longer yourself. And however they can make you perceive children like adult, they will. And so if a child can be made to look like an adult in your brain, they can do that. It's nasty, but that's what they do. So please, target individual, and anybody who's watching my testimonials, it is frustrating. It's always frustrating, but that's their job. I'm a target individual. I'm a human subject. There's perps are trying to agitate me and push me to just lose my mind, and it is frustrating. But I make these videos also to help myself kind of express what's happening to me. It's a way to communicate what's happening, because when you let these things inside, internalize it, and keep it inside, it's just like it grows and grows. So for me, even if it's bringing up something they've already manipulated me to experience, that's how I'm gonna deal with things. Thankfully, you know, honestly, there are levels of how extreme these people are. Teenage kids is not what's gonna break me down the most, honestly. You know, I'm. They've done that to babies. That is when I'm really, really, really losing. Like, it's just breaking down. These older kids, it's annoying. It's frustrating because I know something's being done in my brain to look at them in this sexual way, like to get this perception that I will not get. I'm not able to see them as teenage kids anymore. It just goes into like my brain is just being manipulated to look at them as like adults. And they've been training my brain in so many ways. In so many ways to look at these kids in a sexual way. They give me stimulations and feelings that's just, and they've done that since August 19, 2019. Now, before August, like earlier on, I didn't care when they did that to teenagers because I was like, you know what, you do that to babies. You're doing that to the little babies, like the 10-year-old, even younger, the 11-year-olds. This is what's killing me. These teenagers that you try to create in my brain in different ways, that's okay. You've done that to much younger kids. And so they're bringing up everything that they've done to me. It's like, that's what you guys do. The stimulation, the feelings, that's what you do. And so you gotta be strong because you will never be yourself. And like I said, they are prepping, or they have prepped, or they have framed me, literally, and sold their own children, and want you to accept this manipulation. Because they are gonna frame me in a way that I did something to their children. And this trash that sold their children to be involved in that, I'm telling you, you asked for it. What you ask in regard of what happens to your children, somebody will provide you what you ask for. That's how this thing happens. You wanted this to be true. With me, it has to be manipulated. But there's people who don't have to be manipulated in this way. So what you ask for will come to you. The government that doesn't need to come and manipulate people and react this. There's people like that for real, and they will truly do what you are trying to frame me to like this frame. And I pray that you continue to do this thing so these things are shown to you the right way. So listen to first of all, look at this next. This is their proof that I'm not being manipulated, but because I follow this person, which you're going to see next. And then you're going to hear a woman literally saying, they are forcing me to give these stimulations toward children, young people. And then specifically say there's teenagers involved in this, which of course in my case is the kid. And then at night they do this program Perversion, which they've done that to me. They were like training my brain to have, like, they made me have like sexual dreams where I was with somebody sexually who I don't know if it was an adult or a teenage. Like, it was like on that, I was like, what? And they're like, they wake me up, it's like, oh, she's a teenager, she's a kid, she's a kid. And why would they do that? Is because they wanted to train my brain to like think of people and kids in a sexual way. So today, when I'm trying to look at this, it gets even worse. So it's going to get worse with time. It's just frustrating. And then sometimes they play with me. They kind of turn it off. Like, they make me look normal, like, and then they go back just to have battles. It's crazy. But that's what they do. Now, listen to that. And you got, I hope that that they help somebody. As I'm saying that, they just try to interrupt me. And it's just like, oh, how are they going to frame me? These people can't even speak about a pedophile that picked up kids. I just want to say that. But you're going to hear quickly after that.
Derogatory to their lifestyle and similar mental images. Almost all targets are forced to view child pornography in their minds.
They would never take my will, and since we all know how the psychopaths groups work with what the TI says or does, then they started during the nights to run some kind of beam where suddenly I've been wakened up at 3 o'clock in the mornings and some kind of voice comes and say phrases, sound incomprehensible, and some other times can actually catch what is saying, it's not my voice, a different voice, and I realized that they are trying to program for me to take it in a way that I won't notice a possible change in my behavior. Of course this is not new, because one main thing this program is out there, is called behavior modification for the undesirable, and that's one of the excuses this groups give for the neighbor TO join, deception. I learned to talk back, in my mind, during the process when I was awakened, and I would say demeaning things, that I cannot repeat it in this blog, you know what I mean. Since they had violated me for so long, I decided to aggravate them with words in my mind. I can hear my own voice. I told them I'm going to make you pay for all of the years of torture that I've taken, and all you are going to hear is aggravation. For every single second of my privacy that you have taken away. From me and my family. Then said this: the slaves began a program of perversion. First was with my dog. I am very playful with my pet, and suddenly one day that I was petting him I felt strange, in the sense of the word. I thought, this is strange, and then afterwards that strange sensation continued. Then in that moment I realized that was impost, so I thought, look at this losers, don't know how to put me down, and they are doing this. So I told them that I know what you are trying to do, and I started laughing, and then I said again out loud, you'll never take my will, ASS, so just to show them that I meant what I said, I kept playing with my dog, and even though that attacks continue, I don't let them get me. Today they continue with the programming of perversion, but this time they are aiming in the use of people, better said young people, also children and homosexuals. When I aggravated them I usually called demeaning names, and one of them is referring to homosexuals. For me all of the slaves are misfits, society haters, scumbags, etc. No, I don't have anything personal against them, homosexuals, but as my way to aggravate the slaves, and since they love to use children for the torture and stalking, street theater etc. Especially teenagers for the stalking at close range with an attitude, they are using them during my sleep in the perversion program, and so you can imagine what the slaves of torture are pretending to do to me. In the last days, as today September 9th, 07, anything I do, either watching TV or reading of whatever I'm doing, they brush me sort of say, I feel like I'm aroused all day and I feel the
of voices, noises, and music directly into my mind to communicate with me in real time and at the speed of thought. And it also includes the manipulation of thoughts, emotions, and perceptions in the person's mind. Additionally, the targeting is all highly perverted and sexual, as well as just
for his inappropriate behavior of soliciting sex from young girls. And don't forget, he did that while he was assistant DA, the assistant DA.